3-4 check.
One, one, one. 111 111.
Bivin,
Two, two,
Rose,
two, two.
Neighbors. Okay. Neighbors. Might.
So, oh, never mind. We don't know yet.
Louisville or Arizona.
Louisville will be home if they play Oregon State.
Louisville.
So visitor if they play Coastal. So that's kind of a valid note.
Yep.
I thought it was a good one for a second.
We're good. How we doing?
Another beautiful day. New Jersey, Charlie?
I am from New Jersey.
Whereabouts?
Well, I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania, but
Oh, okay.
I work up in Hackensack now at FDU now. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I grew up in Princeton Junction. I live in Westchester.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't think I've ever been over to FDU, but you know what? Maybe I'll come.
Yeah, you got to get there for a basketball game this year.
Okay, I think we're going to pivot to Arizona, but we don't know for sure yet. So let's hang tight.
Yeah, I actually know Tobin Anderson a little bit.
Oh, do you?
When he coached at St. Thomas Aquinas,
Yep.
I wrote a story because they beat St. John's that one time, like losing out of the building.
Yeah.
Chris Mullen was the coach, and I've been friends with him ever since. And
Great.
Then he was coaching at Iona, which is 10 minutes down the road from me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I used to be the sports editor at Westchester, so I covered Iona a good bit.
Okay.
So
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, great guy. Great guy. I loved working with him. Obviously indebted to him for what he did at FDU, but
All right, so they're sending number 1, Caulfield.
okay.
Number 20, Splain, and 22, Smith Bailey.
okay.
So is it confirmed Arizona?
I guess. I love when we make a plan. I love it.
So we've got
What did I tell you, Splain?
Garen Caulfield. Explain.
Did she give me the whole stack?
Yeah. Keep 4. Okay.
Sandy trip. I gotta keep on loud sheets so Charlie can see me.
You guys have a bowling team?
Two-time national champions.
I see that.
Oh yeah.
Do you have lanes on campus?
We do not. We have a center that's just down the street. That's like our official home. But they hang our banners there and stuff. It's
That's
pretty
awesome.
neat. Yeah. I'm the contact for women's bowling, so I got fully immersed in that universe this year. Postseason bowling, it can be entertaining.
I bet.
It's like because you got to make spares and.
Do you guys broadcast on ESPN Plus or?
No, our conference uses NEC Front Row, which is
okay.
like a digital. Yeah.
You ever need a play-by-play guy? Let me know.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Good to
I'll
know.
give you my contact
Yeah,
information.
for sure.
I'm
Thank
here
you.
the whole time, so.
Okay. Sweet.
Bowling National Championship, I think it was on ESPN or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's on TV. I've watched it because I cover Vanderbilt and they have free natties in
Mhm.
bowling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, when I was at the Albany Times Union, we had a bowling columnist, and we had like 4 or 5 local girls that were bowling in different places around the country. Which, Albany, New York, there's not a lot to do in the winter, so people bowl. I mean, I even wore bowling shoes when I was there.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of reminders before we get going. As a courtesy to our fellow media members, the coaches, and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Also a reminder, recording press conference video on cell phones is prohibited. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. We'll have 2 mic runners. Please wait until the microphone reaches before asking your question. If you're joining us on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We will address questions in the room first and then take questions from Zoom if time permits. Now joining us, members of the Arizona Wildcats, head coach Chip Hale, student athletes Smith Bailey, Tommy Splain, and Garen Caulfield. We'll begin with an opening statement from coach and then open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Yeah, obviously it's not the way you want it to end, and really the only way you want it to end is to be the champion. So unfortunate. We played, as hard as we could. We just didn't play fundamentally sound baseball today, and that's a frustrating thing as a coach and an instructor of baseball. it got really ugly at the end there, and I take the blame for that. I have to have the team better prepared, but it doesn't mean we didn't have a great season. And these kids played it till the end. They did everything they could. So I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of their families for putting up with me as their surrogate father for this season, and nothing but good things for the Wildcats in the future.
We'll open up the questions for the student athletes.
Mark Garland, College Baseball Central. Garen and Tommy, can you guys just tell us a little bit about this run that you guys made at the end of the season here, and then just what it's meant to be a Wildcat here, being as you guys are the seniors?
I'd say it's meant everything to Tommy and I and some of the other guys that probably won't ever play a baseball game again. But yeah, it was probably the last month being on the road. I think we've been home for 24 hours to 36 hours, but I wouldn't change it for the world. That's probably the most fun I've ever had playing baseball this last month. So I'm super grateful for it. And obviously, like, my time as a Wildcat, I think I had the second most at-bats in school history behind this guy over here. There's probably no other school I'd want to have played for, and I'm super thankful to the staff for keeping me that long. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm just thankful for everyone, all the coaches and staff and everyone that's, got me here, but especially Chip. We wouldn't be here without him. It was just, a few things today, but just say, as a whole, I'm just really thankful to be a Wildcat, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Brian Peterson, AZ Desert Storm. Smith, this fourth straight kind of elimination or championship game that you've been involved in, how did it feel out there? And you seem to work out of traffic a lot. What were you doing to keep yourself poised?
It felt the same as every other outing, just because I do everything the same. I just tried to execute my pitches and keep my composure with any hits or anything that happened that didn't go our way.
Javier Morales, All Sports Tucson. Smith, being a freshman here at the College World Series, what can you take from this experience, especially the way you performed?
I'm just going to take from this experience to be a leader for our team next year and try to bring us back next year and hopefully get a little bit of a different result.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7. Smith, this was not the first time you faced Louisville this season. Opening weekend, 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. Can you describe kind of, seeing that lineup again? Did you notice any adjustments they may have made against you? But once again, you had a very successful outing.
I think they're just a great hitting team. I think throughout the season they've adjusted and just improved throughout the season. I think I had a little bit of an advantage just because I kind of knew what some of the kids could and couldn't hit, but I could definitely tell that some kids just kind of fought a little bit more, fouled some balls off, hit some grounders. Just a great hitting team, and I had a little bit more confidence coming into this outing, just knowing that the first game was a little bit successful. So I think that was pretty good.
Noah Darling, College Baseball Central. Smith, as the other Noah in the room just pointed out, strong freshman season from really the jump in February. What does that, number one, say about you, that you were able to have such a strong year right away, and also the health of this program?
I think it's great. I think it's like kind of something that everyone can look at, recruits can maybe look at and see that Vance and John and all the coaches have done a great job with development. Beginning of the season, or before the season started, wasn't the best. And then John and Vance did a great job of just helping me improve throughout the season and getting to where I am today.
For either Garen or Tommy, some of the mistakes that happened in the 8th were from Mason and Tony, who had been so big for you guys all year. What kind of things did you say to them after the game or maybe after that inning just to deal with that?
Yeah, I think it was the same message all year with this group. It's just like some stuff spirals, and we put guys like Tony in tough spots, and then it's just you could feel the momentum right there when the bases were loaded and everything. But what I told him, I told Mason, just keep your head up. You're going to get another one. I don't even think – I think that I saw the ground ball that led off the inning, and it was low the whole time and kicked up right at him. And sometimes that happens. And I told him just take a deep breath and try to stay in this one because he's going to get another one.
Lori Burkhart, All Sports Tucson. Garen and Tommy, what can you say to the younger players? This is a great experience, but you guys have been here for a long time and have worked here as seniors. What advice are you going to give those younger players?
I'll just say keep going. I mean, all those guys have done a terrific job, and especially Bailey. I mean, just stick with it, and the I guess mistakes and challenges that you make, you really do learn from. And Darren and I being here for 4 years, that's been a big reason why we got here today, and Chip. So yeah, just keep going.
I would say like guys like Smith and I would say Bray Fogel and Kane. It's going to be a good core group of guys that have a lot of experience in the postseason. And I would just tell them to keep the focus on the team and not get caught up in their own personal stats or whatever is going on, because the best teams play together and love one another like we did this year.
Smith, Tommy, Garen, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll now open it up to questions for Coach.
Chip, a lot of runners left on base. You had a couple guys that were also gunned down on the bases. There was the play. Was Maddox? Was that the call for him to run on that? Or?
No, okay. The ball's in front of him. He knows, if he can make it or not. He just made a bad decision. We just did a lot of things, that were uncharacteristic of us at the, during this run. People ask all the time, well, how, you were struggling a little bit early in the middle of the year, and we played a lot like this. We made a lot of base running mistakes. We didn't execute, on bunt plays. Twice they bunted the ball. We didn't get an out, a rundown. There were so many things. So it just slowly slipped away. You could see it slipping away. Unfortunately, you're doing everything you can to try to keep the guys positive and keep them with it. But you could see at certain points that there were guys who were starting to, get with their own disappointments, let that kind of cloud what was going on in the game. So, yeah, we're very, and once the tide turned, that's where Louisville takes advantage of you. They're really good with the bunting. They're really good with the base running. They put a lot of pressure on you. So while we were ahead, we kept them at bay. But you got to give them credit. Once they got the chance, they saw the opening like we did during the other games during the playoffs. They really took advantage of it, so you got to give them credit.
Mark Allen, College Baseball Central coach. Obviously not the result you guys were looking for today, but what do you take forward with this really special team that you had here and just the tremendous run you guys made the last third of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I just said it to the club. I hope they can take, what they learned in this run. Sometimes, losing, not making it to where you want to get to. These things are going to happen. We have guys in there that are going to play in World Series in the future, and they're going to lose World Series. How are you going to handle it? We have guys who aren't going to play another game of baseball, and they're going to have families. They're going to be in business. How are they going to use? They might be struggling. How are they going to, make it so their family's better, their business is better? And I hope they learn from that. But it was a great group. They fought. We've said it many times. I've said it to the media many times. We felt like when we broke, we started in August that this team could be in Omaha. And so I'm not surprised we got here. It was a funky way we got here. We didn't play great at times. We had a lot of learning to do. And we overperformed and underperformed in spots we didn't think we would. But now this is the beauty of college baseball. We get to go back and, the guys who are going to leave, they're going to leave. They're going to get drafted. And now we're going to get a new team and have some fun doing it. And we're going to learn from how we played today. And we're not going to, we're going to do our best. I'm going to do my best as the head coach not to let that happen.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7. Coach, you mentioned the term uncharacteristic in an answer there. Your stopper of the year, Tony Pluta.
Yeah.
Last weekend, 64 pitches. It was the most he had in a single weekend this season. This weekend in the College World Series, just a little uncharacteristic. Yeah. First at bat today, bloop single in the right field.
Right.
You go out, pitching coach goes out there for a mound meeting. Can you offer us a little bit of insight? There's a guy warming up in the bullpen pretty early, too.
Yeah, I think Kevin just wanted to settle him down and let everybody know, hey, how we're going to play this with the bases loaded, or, it was uncharacteristic. We're using that word a lot, aren't we? And you know what? Maybe the 60-some pitches last weekend, it's tough on a body. It's a lot of pitches for him. So he definitely was not as sharp as he has been. I mean, I know those are some blue pits and all that, but he gets a lot more swing and miss than that. So, hey, it's college baseball. It's a sport, and the ball bounces funky ways. So we have to live with it. We got some great breaks along the way, too.
Hey, Chip, in '85 as a player, you lost the
Yep.
2 games here, and then the next year you won the World Series. Anything you can take from that, from like Jerry Kindle handled that situation, that maybe you can take forward?
Yeah, I like that. I like the way that went. Obviously, we didn't like '85. It was tough. Kind of the same deal. We lost a really close game, and then we didn't play very well against Stanford. So, yeah, let's get back here and see if we can repeat what we did in '86 in 2026. But it's so hard to get here, and I just, there's 7 teams left now, and I wish them all luck, man. They're great teams, and we're sorry that we're not going to be playing anymore, but it's baseball.
That'll conclude our press conference.
Thank you, guys.
Coach,
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you joining us. Just a couple of reminders before we get going with Louisville. As a courtesy to your fellow media members, the coaches, and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Also a reminder, press conference video on cell phones is prohibited. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conference. We'll have 2 mic runners. Please wait for the microphone to reach you before asking a question. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We'll address questions in the room first and take questions from Zoom if time permits. Now welcome members of the Louisville Cardinals, head coach Dan McDonald, student athletes Tucker Biven, Kamayu Neighbors, and Zion Rose. Gentlemen, congratulations on your victory and advancing. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement from you, and then we'll open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Congratulate Arizona, on a great year. I know it hurts, and it's tough on them, but, really one bad inning for them. They deserve to be here. They played their tail off in the postseason, went on the road, tough on the road, and played really good here. These games, you could tell, man, they're one inning, sometimes one pitch, one out type game. So, but I do want to congratulate them because it was a great run. We saw them early in the year and knew they got off to a slow start, but, man, they got it going. This is a fun spot to be in, especially on Father's Day. I got to play here. I got to coach here on Father's Day in '07, first time. And a lot of those '07 guys were sending me text messages today because we won that day. So it's just special. Just a lot of good memories, great memories of my dad and supporting me around the game. And that's what I've tried to pour into these guys. Just enjoy it and realize what your parents do to get you to this spot and how much fun they're having. They're having a lot of stress too, but man, they're having a lot of fun. So really happy to be in this spot and celebrating these guys.
We'll open it up to questions for the student athletes.
Alexis Cuba, Louisville Courier-Journal. Kamayu, yesterday, 2 days ago, Jake said that performance offensively would not happen again. Obviously, for you to have a career day like that, what was, I guess, going through your mind, or how much urgency was there today in terms of knowing that it was a winner go home situation?
Nothing really changed, I'd say, as far as mindset and the routine. You guys know how baseball is, so today just happened to be my day. These guys always pick me up throughout the year, so I'm just lucky that I was able to pick them up today.
Bradley Smart, D1 Baseball. For Kamayu and Zion, that eighth inning just kind of felt like as guys were getting on base, you guys both obviously had the two big hits in there. What was it sort of like in the dugout? Obviously, you're running out of outs in your season. Can you talk about how you kind of built sort of into that inning and then took advantage?
Yeah, like you said, a lot of things happened before that inning to make it that inning. Jake with a hard ground ball running out. Eddie, who's been hot all playoff, getting a base hit. And then Tay, bloop shot, me. And it's funny how baseball is. Everybody's hitting, hard line drives to center, but they're getting caught. But, the little bloop hit gets down. So, that was big to add on to the energy, our confidence. We knew Tuck was going out for that last inning, so it was shut down after that.
Mike Vito, College Baseball Central. This is for you, Tucker. You've been starting the last couple times you've made appearances. You come out of the bullpen today. Just kind of talk about the mindset going into the game as well as what was kind of working for you today.
Yeah, Coach Williams told me yesterday at practice they're just a little better against righties and not so much against lefties. So I was fine with it. I trusted him. I trust Eberle. Even though he's a freshman, he's a dog. But the mindset is just whenever I get my name called, go in and give this team a chance to win for these guys next to me.
Noah Darling, College Baseball Central. Kamayu and Zion, your second time seeing Arizona starter Smith Bailey. You saw him opening weekend. What do you remember from that outing, and how is he, without seeing him in between, how has he developed?
Our mindset as an offense is, we play against the thing in between our ears and the baseball. Obviously, we have a scouting report, but our preparation, we're trying to move the ball with two strikes. We're trying to be aggressive, take what the defense gives us. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily we remembered anything like that, but our approach stayed the same.
Kamayu, Tucker, Zion, we appreciate your time. See you guys on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'll build off Kamayu. Man, that guy's good. And we've seen back-to-back freshmen. That's a 4-pitch mix. And I don't remember doing damage against them at Globe Life when we played them. I think when we knocked them out, we got to the bullpen. But man, today it was tough, man. I mean, the ability to throw off speed and what you would think is fastball counts, and that's an impressive year for anybody, but especially a freshman.
Mark Garland, College Baseball Central. Coach, defense was really good today. Every time that Arizona tried to take advantage of another base, you guys seem to find a way to get those guys out. Can you speak a little bit about on how well you guys have prepared defensively?
Pitching and defense gives you a chance, and as we say, it travels. So it felt like all along, we were great up the middle with Alisea and Kamayu, and of course Lucas Moore, and when we got Klein back, the older catcher, just. But really, everybody, I'm so impressed with Tage Davis, his growth from when he got here in the fall, how good he is defensively. Even a guy like Zion, who's been a catcher most of his life and made a decision last summer that he wanted to convert to an outfielder, and he makes a diving catch today. You preach it a lot, and you talk about don't take your bat to the field and all these things that you just pound home in February and March and April, and you hope it sticks. And for those teams that allow it to stick and show their toughness and respect the game, you give yourself a chance. You don't always win, but at least you give yourself a chance.
Noah Bieniek, 11.7, Coach. The other day in a press conference, you mentioned the name Muhammad Ali, heavyweight boxing world champion. Your last two at-bats, this may not have fit the narrative on Friday after the result, unfortunately, but you've totaled 8 runs and 9 hits. the bottom of the 8th today, the top of the 9th against Oregon State. Is there like a simile, a metaphor, a message that you send to the team? You mentioned it in the press, so I was wondering if you use it to the team.
Yeah, we mention it because, we're very fortunate. We come from the city, the same as the greatest, and they're connected to our family. And actually, I hugged Lonnie Ali before I got on the bus. It was pretty freaking cool to hug Lonnie Ali before you get on the bus to come to the stadium. But you really got to give a lot of credit to our support staff. When we talk baseball and we talk about finishing, it's the strength coach, Nico, it's the trainer, Josh, it's the nutritionist, Savannah, it's the mental performance coach, Katie, it's our academic coordinator, Rachel, and like all the people that, we challenge these kids, man, finish. And don't just run out there in the field and be great for an hour and a half. Finish in the classroom, finish at the end of the semester, finish the day out. And we do, we address it in practice. We call them up late in practice. We talk about the last 3 innings. We talk about extra innings. It's great to say it as a coach, but they're the ones that have to do it. They have to buy in and they have to believe. And so I think it's just a combination of everything. I said, it might not show immediately, but, as we rotate our books, Toughness, Jay Billis is one of the great books, I think, for everybody, not just student athletes, because he makes it clear, toughness is a muscle. You're not born with toughness. Now you might come from a tougher background than others. I might get you might be a little tougher than others, but give me a couple years, and I'd like to think, not me, but the program, I can help you become tougher if you're going to succeed in our program. And so, as a coach, you're just really proud when these kids buy in and take pride, with the Muhammad Ali analogies, but they earned it. That they worked their tail off, and that's why they've showed. And first game of the year, I think we scored 2 in the 9th, and then we won it in extra innings. And so it was good because they saw the fruits early in the season, and so we haven't been perfect this year, but we have played well in the last 3 innings. I appreciate you noticing.
Dan, moving Alex up over here. Moving Alex up in the batting order, what kind of look did you want from that, or what was kind of the goal in kind of mixing up that lineup a little bit?
When you talk about toughness, man, Alisea is such a tough kid. And so as I brag about toughness on Father's Day, let's make sure it really probably starts, with their dads, not taking anything away from moms, but I'm going to love on the dads today. Man, Alex is a tough kid. And he's been playing, his thumb's been bothering him a little bit or a lot. And so we dropped him to 8, 9 the last month or so, just to take some pressure off, eliminate some at-bats. If he gets 4 or 5 less at-bats in a week, just try to keep him going. But he's competed so well and he's looked so good the past few weeks that I thought he was more than capable of doing it. And I really wanted to just give Lucas a chance to, he hasn't been necessarily rolling as he has been at times. So let's let Lucas stand on deck and swing the bat and get loose. And I don't know what kind of coaching I'm doing because Alex swung at the first pitch and hit a fly ball. And I'm just kind of sitting there going, man, the game's fighting us right now. But that's my fault because I don't make Alex take. I just want him to lead off, and usually he sees a bunch of pitches. He didn't in that at bat. So Lucas Moore takes a heater right down the middle because he don't want to swing at the first pitch, and so it looks like it kind of backfired on me. But I've said it publicly, and I don't say it to put pressure on Alex, and no disrespect to anybody in the ACC, but he's a candidate to lead the league in hits. He's that good, and if we can get him for a full, healthy year next year, he's that good. I mean, he's one of the better hitters on the team.
We'll have time for one more question.
Coach, you seem to have a message for the guys there in the dugout, maybe around the 6th or the 7th inning. I mean, the rally kind of came around after that. What was said there, and what what was the mindset? Did you think of the team that you thought they needed something right there?
Well, I can bring the Saban out of me, with the best of them. I mean, that's just, as a coach my age, that's just who I grew up watching and admiring, the Krzyzewskis and the Sabans and the Parcells, and just, and so I definitely have a little bit of old school in me. And I love on the kids. They know I love them. But as I've always said, man, they see my best and they see my worst. And when I'm not happy, they're going to know. But it really didn't faze them as much as I need to kind of just be who I am, the same guy in March, right, on a Tuesday. And I had a lot of frustration in me just from what I was watching. I was waiting for the adjustment to happen. It wasn't happening. So, I just kind of used the groundhog comparison as to what was happening. And as good as we are in the ninth and as good we are in the last 3 innings, we're not waiting. You don't want to live in that world, and we're doing it now. Like, we're making the adjustment now. And it, there's no guarantee that it works, but I'm just going to be who I am. And sometimes, because you claim you're a Christian and the way you are doesn't act like you're holier than thou and you're perfect and all that. So believe me, there's some words that'll come out of my mouth, and there'll be things like my wife will not be happy that I necessarily say. But the kids know, man, I'm loving on them. And sometimes just a little tough love. Sometimes it's a little kick in the rear. I always say, you put your arm around them sometimes. And sometimes, man, you gotta get them going. But I am blessed because we have a lot of tough kids. You don't have to be from the Midwest, but we got a lot of Midwest and Northeast kids. So, I mean, I don't want to act like my California kids aren't tough and all that stuff. But just be who we are, right? Let's not put up a facade and act differently because we're playing in Omaha. We kind of got to be who we are. And I don't know if we can bust through the door now, but we got their attention. I do believe we got their attention. So we have a good practice tomorrow, and we get ready to play another great opponent on Tuesday. But if there's no more questions, then again, please let me end with Father's Day wishes to all the dads out there. I'm so happy for my kids that they get to spend time with their dads, those that are still around and a part of this. And I got to take a picture on the field with my son Jacob and Justin, which is going to be one of the all-time highlights of my life. To be on that field taking a picture with your two boys is pretty special. So I'm blessed.
Well said, Coach. Thanks for joining us. That'll conclude our press conference, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you, man. Well done today.